What's up? A to Z Sports live on a Thursday as we inch closer to the Titans coming off the bye week against the big rival in the division, the Indianapolis Colts, who are on a 2-game win streak after the Titans beat them a few weeks ago. The Titans 3-2. The Colts have their record, which is complicated, but they are doing much better over the last couple of weeks. And the Titans can really take a stranglehold of the AFC South if they can finish off the sweep of the Colts on Sunday. And Zach and I have 10 eye-opening stats about this Titans team that really just tells you what kind of team they are. But has it really impacted the win-loss column the way that it possibly could have? But we're going to go through these 10 stats, these rankings about the Titans through 5 games as they get ready for their 6th game of the season. And then a matchup against the Texans after that. So 2 divisional games back-to-back here for the Titans in the middle of October. So we're going to have a good show on those. And then 2 key injured defenders are set to return to the lineup against the Colts. And we'll hear from both Bud Dupree and Amani Hooker from the locker room yesterday. And then it is Thursday, which means the Magic Bucket. And I didn't have the Magic Bucket last week. Did the Magic Bucket treat you and Sam well?
Yeah, I had to wear gloves, jazz hand gloves, in which I
what are jazz hands gloves?
Just we had to make jazz hands with gloves. They weren't white gloves, they're black gloves, but yeah, so it wasn't that bad. And so we'll find out, what we got in store today. That I feel like that's treating kindly. And we don't have to
weird because I don't have the bucket. Normally I'm in I don't have control over what I pick, but now
I am the captain now.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, we got a big show ahead. Make sure you tune into the Magic Bucket. We'll do that at the end of show like we do every show as we go away from sports for a little bit. But we are big into sports for the first chunk of the show, for the majority of the show. And we are going to reveal these stats, which will be eye-opening as we've kind of titled this particular show. And this particular show, we are broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. We will tweet out segment by segment those YouTube links. So follow us on Twitter at A to Z Sports. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. Go ahead and like this video. We ask you to like the show before you go. You can like the show right now. Now that helps YouTube's algorithm, helps us spread the good word of A to Z Sports as we talk Titans coming off of a bye week, heading into a big divisional game. You don't realize how big it is because of the Colts, and all the points they scored in the fourth quarter help them beat the Jags as they tend to fall. The Texans are the Texans. And so it could be that 2-horse race between the Titans and the Colts. We'll find out on Sunday as it's kind of a throwback type weekend as the Titans are honoring Oilers weekend. I probably would assume that once they have their throwbacks possibly next year, that they're probably going to wear them versus the Colts. I don't know that for a fact.
Homecoming. It's homecoming game. And
they usually play homecoming against the Colts. That homecoming game, which that's a whole nother discussion. I would wear throwbacks moving forward against the Texans just to rub them the wrong way. That's what I would do. Yes. But I don't know what they're going to do once they reveal those throwbacks, possibly in 2023. You can throw it back onto our Facebook crew that have been with us since day one. Bottom left corner of your screen, share now to public. Sharing is caring, and caring is sharing on this show. More people are going to be piling in over the next 5 to 10 minutes as you guys do. Please share the show around. We're on a road to 100K following on our Facebook page. So go ahead and follow us there and give that page a like. We got great content going out consistently. So let's get this Magic Bucket Thursday party started and start this show.
Yeah, if you really want to shove the Texans' face in it, then you would wear the Oilers throwbacks in Houston on the road. But that's a different show for next year when they get those white helmets. But let's get it going officially. Welcome in the A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Zach Bingham. Make sure you follow us all over social media as we are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, going live every weekday morning at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Make sure you hit us up on Twitter where the segments are tweeted out, Instagram where you can find those links to YouTube as well, and on TikTok. We got to thank our sponsors because they make it all happen for us, and they help out you guys with Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process by going to see them in Lebanon or WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plan. That's better coverage, rates, and service. FBHP.com/ATOZ. And Hughes and Coleman Injury Lawyers, the official injury lawyers of the Tennessee Titans. Hughes and Coleman principal office in Nashville, Tennessee. Call them at 800-800-4600. Zach, the Titans are at 3-2. The Colts are at 3-2-1. I've got some opinions that I'm saving in the bank for potentially tomorrow's show. We also have our pregame show on Sunday at 11:30, 30 minutes before kickoff between Colts at Titans, about what I see in the Colts win over the Jags and what that might mean for Sunday's game. But this show is about these 10 eye-opening stats from the Titans 3-2 start. And let's just go ahead and flash them up on the screen via Paul Koharski, who put this together on Twitter. 10 Titans rankings, the offense on the left, the defense on the right, total ranking, run, pass, third down, and points. There's a lot of numbers in the 20s and then one in the 30s, a couple in the 30s, I guess. Not a lot of top 10 rankings in this, but total offense 31st, run offense 21st, pass offense 28th, third down offense is 25th, and then points 21st on both sides. Total defense 28th, run 5th, pass 32nd, third down 2nd, and points, as I mentioned, 21st. Zach, your initial thoughts on those eye-opening stats from the Titans at 3-2?
Well, let's just start real quick with this left column as a whole. What the hell's going on there? You thought this offense was going to take a step back because there was no longer going to be A.J. Brown. Julio Jones didn't give you much last year, but you're going to have to replace a superstar, and they tried to replace a superstar with obviously Robert Woods coming off of an ACL, and then Treylon Burks, who now is on IR with that turf toe. Offensively, their tight end position probably hasn't given them as much production as they would like. Chig has gotten into the mix recent weeks, but Austin Hooper has been non-existent this year, and you have to be disappointed in his offensive play. They've asked him to do different things, and I think the offense has changed because Taylor Lewan, first play, week 2, down, out for the season with that ACL injury. So they had to adapt. But good Lord almighty. Look, 31st, 21st, 28th, 25th, 21st. The weird part is that they're 3-2 and have a winning record. Now, you and I know that, and the chat knows why they have a winning record, right? And it is not necessarily indicative. They've had some things go their way. They've won close games. They've lost a close game against the New York Giants in week 1. But offensively, they are putrid. They stink. And so I think that when I see this graphic and all of the numbers line up, and we'll get to defense and talk through everything, but offensively, you've got to be embarrassed on what you're putting on the football field. And look, they've had great starts, haven't they? Right? I mean, they've had 24 points in a half twice. But overall, they're not very good.
They're the most productive offense in the first quarter in the entire NFL, and that's important. That counts. And then,
there's 4 quarters. You do. It's also important.
I know. But if you start fast, then it helps out a lot. And Rich brings it up too. One stat that Paul didn't put together was the Titans' offense is first in the red zone. Yeah, and so now they're 21st in points, but when they get in the red zone, they've scored every time. But they've only kicked a couple field goals in the red zone. They've scored touchdowns on every other thing. And so they're just not getting in the red zone enough, which is why their total offensive scoring is 21st overall when the red zone scoring is first overall when it comes to percentages. But they're just not getting enough opportunities in the red zone. And I think it's all and another true stat. So we're going through some truths in this. And that's the fact that Joe is right as well on Facebook. Joe Williams says the Bills game put the Titans way behind in stats. And that is true. The Titans have played 5 games with the early bye. Most teams have played 6. And so when you look, and these are average per game, right? But when you've only played 5 games and you get your ass kicked in one of them and blown out, and it's the worst loss in Mike Vrabel's tenure as Titans head coach, and you lose by 34 or whatever the final score was, I forget. But that's going to blow things out of proportion.
To
overall.
a degree, if you look at the pass defense and how bad that is, and they said this on the broadcast against the Commanders, 3 straight 100-yard passers in 3 straight games.
300-yard passers.
Yeah, 300-yard passers. That's what I'm saying is that's indicative of 3 straight games. That's not just one game. That's unfortunate consistency.
Yeah, but again, like I mentioned, the Titans offense is the number 1 scoring offense when it comes to efficiency in the NFL. Their red zone defense is also very good. And that's the thing about the bend don't break, and that's kind of been Mike Vrabel's MO since they've been here, is that they don't care about yards. And you weren't on the pregame show with me and Sam for the Washington game. In the pregame show, I was like, yeah, Carson Wentz going to throw for a bunch of yards. I don't care. Just don't let him score points. And if you don't let him score points, you can throw for as many yards and play between the 20s all day long for all I care. The Washington offense only got in the red zone 1 time. And they scored 2 big plays, 75-yard touchdown and a 30-plus yard touchdown to Diami Brown. But the Titans defense, when they got in the red zone, got that big stop at the very end of the game with the interception, 0 for 1 in the red zone. Washington scored 17 points. And so that's what this Titans defense is living by, is do whatever you want to do in between the 20s, but when you get in the red zone, we're going to shut you down, and that's what they've done the last 5 games.
Well, and
outside of Buffalo.
I think defensively there's less concern. They have some really good, and if you throw the graphic back up there, their run defense, I feel like, has always been solid. That is something that Mike Vrabel, I think, has kind of stood behind, is let's stop the run. And there's some good running backs in the AFC, including Jonathan Taylor in their own division. But I thought the run defense has been consistent over the last several years. Their pass defense a little funky because of Caleb Farley and his inconsistencies. You also have Christian Fulton, who had blown coverage, which is indicative of pass coverage. And they've had some bad plays deep down the field with that have ended in touchdowns.
Yeah. But
I think I look at their defense. They have come up in massive spots, right? 2 key plays have given them 2 key wins. Those 2 key plays, 2-point conversion against the Raiders, last play of the game against the Commanders. Mm-hmm. Those singular plays, the Raiders would have pushed to overtime possibly, right? So it's not a win. The Commanders would have been a loss, right? So those 2 plays, I think, have been massive. And then you got a missed field goal against the Giants. That is a game-deciding field goal. You win or you lose. There are 3 opportunities to, change. You sit there at 3-2. You're not in a bad spot. But Austin, this is a big problem.
No, yeah, it is a big problem. And I don't know what Brandon is saying no to, but I don't disagree, Brandon. And I know the Titans' second half scoring has been putrid all season, and their yards in the second half have also been putrid.
So they're not getting in the red zone, as you're saying.
Right. That's my whole point. The Titans have the number 1 offensive offense in the red zone, but they only have, I think, 13 or 14 I think it's 13 in 5 games. 13 red zone appearances. That's 2.8 red zone appearances per game. They're just not getting there enough, Brandon, because they're not gaining yards in the second half. They're punting a lot. They're getting stuck in 3rd and longs and then having the ball turned over to the other team, which is allowing the defense to give up more yards. So everything's connected. The points are 21st in the NFL. The yards for the Titans on offense are down. The yards of the Titans defense they're allowing is up because the offense can't gain more yards to allow the defense to stay off the field. Everything's intertwined in this. And so if you fix the offensive problem of gaining first downs in the second half, you probably score more points and you give up less yards and less points on the other side too.
I would argue that the Titans have yet to play a complete game.
Nobody's disagreeing.
But that's what you have to do to become a good quality football team.
Offensively, you can argue the Titans defense has played a complete game.
Yeah, I think
The Colts complete game. Yes. The Washington game, the Commanders. I just call them Washington, but the command, because I hate the Commanders. The Schneidskins. They have only 17 points allowed in those two games.
That's somewhat offensive, the Schneidskins. Some way you put it. I don't know how offensive it is, but somebody's going to be griping somewhere in America if you say Schneidskins.
Well, I don't think the Dan Snyder has many defenders at this point.
No, he's got Commanders. He doesn't have defenders, silly.
But again, the defense has played two complete games when it comes to the Colts game and the Commanders game because of only giving up 17 points in those two, where the Titans offense absolutely has not played a complete game so far.
And my question, can they? Do you believe that they can? There's some inch of my mind, Austin, that doubts that the Titans offense can play a complete game, because I sit there and I doubt their weapons. I doubt their talent. I doubt, whether it's Todd Downing, because don't you believe, and we talked a lot about this, I believe for the offense to play a complete game, I feel like the stars have to align. And that's not a good thing, in the sense of Todd Downing has to not, be calling toss sweeps, right? So he's got to be on his game. Ryan Tannehill has to be on his game and not throwing bad interceptions that we've seen a couple of times this year that he shouldn't have thrown. Derrick Henry's got to be running hard, and their wide receivers and tight ends have to be efficient in catching the football, and they've got to get into the red zone, in which they've been successful, but they don't get into the red zone in the second two quarters of play.
Yeah, and so, Zach, you say the stars have to align for the Titans offense to have a full game. Well, my answer is what stars? You've got star. You need multiple stars to have
the North
stars.
Star.
Yeah, you have to have stars align with more than one star. They have Derrick Henry, and that guy has carried this offense to wins the last 2 weeks. But let's ask this question and get everybody more involved. Which of these 10 Titan stats that we've shown is most important? Which of these 10 Titan stats, and we'll show them again, is most important? But first, Zach, tell everybody about Wilson County Hyundai.
Wilson County Hyundai is where you need to go to get your next ride. That's wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Palisade, all new Palisade, third row seating, bucket seats, all the bells and whistles. It can replace your mom's minivan, and in the carpool line, you can be looking sleek and luxurious with the brand new Palisade. They also have the Sonata. They've got the Elantra. They've got the Tucson, the Santa Fe, the Ioniq. Your perfect make and model is at Wilson County Hyundai. It's a quick trip down I-40, exit 236. Visit Payne Bone and his team as Austin kind of jumps off the screen. I'll go solo. I'll go over here. WilsonCountyHyundai.com is where you need to go. They've got you hooked up, family owned and operated, and they have your perfect make and model. You've just got to go find it at WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Sorry, I know what happened there, but BetMGM, download the BetMGM app and plug in our code ATOZ Sports, and you get a risk-free bet up to $1,000 on your first bet on pro football. Really easy right there. Download the app, use our code ATOZ Sports, make your first deposit and your first bet on pro football risk-free up to $1,000. Asking all of you guys which of these 10 Titan stats is most important. So I'll throw these up here on the screen, and I'll send Zach to the chat here. Total offense, 31st. Run offense, 21st. Pass, 28th. Third down, 25th. Points, 21st. On defense, total defense, 28th. Run defense, 5th. Pass, 32nd. Third down, 2nd. And then points, 21st. Zach, what's the chat saying about these stats?
Well, I think they needed to see it a little bit because, and throw that back up there so they can actually answer. Hard to memorize that. And Danny says the pass defense is the worst stat. So he's saying the most important is the pass defense. Third down defense, talking about Mark D, and the third down defense is 2nd. So that's a positive. The pass defense from Brandon, which is a negative, which is last in the league. Third down defense, which is Steven. So these are kind of polar opposites. They're swinging back and forth from really good to really bad. Third down defense, 2nd. So Van's going positive. Defense, the run defense is the most important from Jermel, which is the defense is 5th in rush defense. Pass defense, which is suspect from Bald and Bearded. Third down defense for sure, which is a good thing. Total offense, gonna kill us sooner than later from G-Man. Third down defense from Laurel. Pass defense from Warren. Points, 21st from Rooney. Third down defense, or excuse me, third down offense, which is 25th from Brian. So that kind of gives you a feeling on what the chat is saying. Austin, what do you think is most important out of all of these stats that we've shown?
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm going to go with the third down defense, because the third down defense, I think, is most important because of how it affects the other numbers. If you give up a bunch of passing yards, like that's just going to happen in the league, but being dead last in passing defense is not good. That needs to improve. But the fact that they are dead last in passing defense, but also second best in third down defense, directly affects the points that they're not giving up. If they were any worse in third down defense, how many games would they have lost? Like, I think third down defense has won them games in the first 5 games. They are 3-2, Zach, because of their third down defense, because they forced field goals in the red zone against the Raiders. They didn't allow the Commanders to get in the red zone but one time. And then on 3rd and goal at the end of the game, David Long Jr. came up big with an interception on that goal line. In the Colts game, third down defense came up big as well to get the offense the ball back and to limit points being scored. So third down defense, in my opinion, is the most important of those 10 rankings that we showed you.
So what can change? That's how I'm going to justify my answer.
Sure.
And the pass defense is 32nd, but I think that can improve. If you look, they're always ahead. They've been ahead for the last 3 weeks.
Because first quarter's so good, right?
And what do you think happens when a team is down? They pass the football, and that's what's happened with the Colts. That's what's happened with the Raiders. It happened last week with the Commanders, or 2 weeks ago because of the bye. So I think that can improve. Austin, I do not think that the pass offense at 28th can improve that much. I don't think that they have it in them. Traylon Burks ain't coming back anytime soon because he's on IR. You got Robert Woods, which guys are going to start to key. Austin Hooper hasn't been great. Chig is still a rookie. Kyle Phillips came out guns a-blazing week 1 because they utilized him in that 2-minute drill.
He got hurt.
Kind of been non-existent since that injury.
He got hurt at the end of the game, yeah.
Yeah, and since then he's been non-existent. I do not believe that you can improve the passing offense in a passing league for a run team from 28th that much. That is the problem. And I believe in this league, to get to where you want to go, you got to throw the football. Ryan Tannehill has shown that he is willing and able to throw. I just don't think, as you referenced, there's one star. There ain't many stars. So you can't align those stars to improve 28th in pass. And I'd have to actually go through, and I haven't had a chance to do this, and really crunch the numbers of the separation of 28th ranked pass offense versus 15th ranked pass offense. Because I do think that there's probably a bigger discrepancy, and it's how the Titans are constructed. I don't think you should be upset or concerned that they're 3-2. That's a good thing. But moving forward, I don't think that they can pass the football. I think it's going to be their Achilles heel all year long. And when things get nitty-gritty, you're going to have to throw the football. They've been playing with the lead. They haven't been playing from behind. The one time they were playing from behind, week 1 against the Giants, they drove down. It was one drive. They missed the field goal. They played from behind against the Bills. That didn't matter. They were too far behind. And then the last 3 weeks, they've been playing with the lead. I don't believe in this passing offense because I don't think that they've had the horses. And I've said that. I've said that all year long and even before. That's my most important stat out of all of these stats, because I don't know if they can change that much. I think that the run offense can change. I think that they can improve from 21st to 15th or 14th or 13th.
Sure. No, I don't disagree with that. And Mark says this: the Titans run the ball a lot, which burns clock and doesn't allow stats to pile up. And I subscribe to that, Mark. I think it's, that is a true statement. That which game was it? I believe it was the Raiders game. Oh no, it was the Colts game that took like 2 hours and 30 minutes to end, because it was just so fast because of how much the Titans are running the ball, and that doesn't allow for separation either. It allows for less possessions, which is lessening the scoring opportunities to the Titans because they run the ball so methodically, and they're not hitting the home runs. Like there's not the only home run the Titans have hit this season was that 62-yard pass to NWI that allowed the only second half points since week 1 against Washington there. So without the home run, the Titans offense is really struggling.
And when I looked at this screen, I said, I think that they can improve every single number except passing offense.
Well, third down defense is kind of hard to improve, but they get the credit for that, right? Like
they still can improve it.
Yeah, but again, like
they're not.
The odds are that they're not. The odds are that they will a little bit revert towards the mean, a little bit, and maybe be top 5, right? If they can be top 5 third down defense, then they're winning a lot more games.
But total offense, run offense, even third down offense, if you get into third and short, you can still convert with Derrick Henry. Points they can improve on, and then defense. But the passing offense, man, I don't like it. I don't like it one bit, and they're going to have to rely on it sooner rather than later. They're just going to get into a situation. They haven't gotten through. They haven't played their tough schedule yet. I think Sunday is a tough game. I don't think it's just a walk in the park. But then they got the Texans, and then you saddle up for the real hard stretch of the season after that, and they got to get their passing offense in gear.
Yeah, so somebody asked who's behind the Titans in passing offense. It's most of them are not the company you want to be in. Panthers, Falcons, Giants, ironically, and then the Bears. The Bears are dead last in passing offense at 122 passing yards a game.
I mean, name 2 Bears wide receivers.
Velus Jones, and just because he went to Tennessee, and Darnell Mooney, just because
he's had some big catches.
Yeah, just because
those have been the only catches, but he's had some big catches.
But good night. Like 122 passing yards a game through 6 games for the Bears. The Bears only have 63 completions on the season, which is 20 less completions than the Titans in one more game. Ugh.
They also have a stockpile of cash that they're going to spend. They're going to go on a Jaguar spending spree this offseason. So that will change. But that's bad company. That's bad company. That's what it is.
Yes. And the Cowboys right above the Titans at 27th in passing offense, but they haven't had Dak Prescott.
Yeah, you got backup quarterback.
Yeah. So that's explainable there. All right. So I do have where I think we asked what's the most important stat, and I went with third down defense. I have what needs to improve to be the most impactful of these Titan stats, of the 10 of them. I'm going to go with that. But first, Zach, I'm going to tell all of you guys about our friends at the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Whenever you get hurt in life, it could be from playing sports, your kids playing sports, your parents getting hurt in older age, you getting hurt in older age. It happens. Life brings injuries, and you have to know where to go and where to get better. And that's the Bone and Joint Institute, because they have 12 plus doctors at their Franklin campus who specialize in everything. They've got somebody who knows exactly how to get you back to health, regardless of what your injury might be, and a physical rehab facility that is state-of-the-art as well. boneandjointtn.org.
A to Z Sports are powered by BetMGM. They are the king of sports books. Use the promo code ATOZ Sports. Get a risk-free bet up to $1,000 on pro football. You get that risk-free bet. Austin, I started the NBA season as the NBA kind of got geared up.
Yep.
I hitched my wagon last night to Zion Williamson. I thought Zion and Brandon Ingram were have 2 big games. They did. They beat the Nets, and I did get the little cold hard cash from that win, which was nice. You can bet on any sport. BetMGM's got you covered. Download BetMGM and the app in your Android or Apple App Store. Use the promo code ATOZ Sports for a risk-free bet up to $1,000 for new users.
All right, so I did see a comment from somebody, and here it is. I think it's Brandon, and maybe a couple others said something similar, because we've got the stats here of the Titans 10 rankings from PK there. What I'm going to focus on here is the third down offense at 25th overall, because this is what Brandon and some others had said as well, is that, and one, third down offense, improve that, and the rest will follow. And I agree with those guys who have said those type of comments, is that if the Titans' third down offense gets better, their total offense gets better, their passing offense, their running offense, their points, that all improves. And it's a direct correlation to the defensive stats as well, to keeping those guys off the field. So improve your third down offense and everything else will follow. Now, improving your third down offense doesn't mean, man, you better get a lot better at converting 3rd and 8s. No, it's you have to get yourself in 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, or 3rd and 1 so you can continue. So it's everything. The offense is the problem. The defense is getting hurt because the offense's inefficiencies. And so if you help third down offense, everything else is better, including first down offense and second down offense and scoring. So that's the thing that's the lead domino. Knock over third down offense and make that at least in the top 20, and boom, all of a sudden everything else looks a lot cleaner.
Here's something I do want to see, and I'm going to retouch on this in our pregame show on Sunday. Jake brings this up. No rookie tight end sweeps on 3rd and 1. I agree with Jake, but I do think that Todd Downing has improved since that 3rd down sweep. You got to get a little bit more exotic in getting, and don't shake because I said exotic. I ain't talking about exotic smash mouth. But Chig, getting him involved in unique ways, I think that he in space can really help this offense from the lack of help that Austin Hooper has been. I do think you've got to kind of lean into 85 a little bit more now after the bye. He's had some games under him. He's had some catches. Massive catch against Indy to close out the game on those, coming across the field. And Tannehill does this very well because he can make the decision to either run and get a couple of yards, throw the ball out of bounds, or throw the ball, to a sweeping wide receiver or tight end. Get Chig involved. Tight end screens, fake running back screens to tight end screens. We saw that more with Jonnu, and I know that was Arthur Smith play calling, but Jake kind of cued me. I want to see Chig more a part offensively and putting him in spots to succeed in the open field.
Yeah, the Colts game you mentioned, Chig had 3 catches for, I think, 38 yards, scored a touchdown, had the game-winning catch there that you mentioned. He only played 13 snaps. I remember the Colts game from Chig. I remember 13 snaps, 3 catches, 3 big catches, a touchdown, and a game-winning catch there too. So what does his role look like moving forward? Because I know Austin Hooper's not happy about what his role looks like, and nobody's happy when Jeff Swaim's catching passes except for Jeff Swaim.
Yeah, and Sean brings up, do you think that Malik Willis, who we haven't talked about pretty much at all, and for a good reason, because he's not part of the offense.
Not ready.
He's not ready. He's a backup. He's a rookie. Will have a special package, or are they too bad to even consider? I wouldn't say bad. I would say, Sean, it's too early. You want to use those type of plays. It's all a trickeration play. And how you use those is you put him on the field, and you may not even use him when he's on the field. It still may be a Derrick Henry run, but you now make the defense for some of your tougher games down the stretch game plan for it. It's the same thing that Alabama did against Tennessee, is they floated the idea out of Bryce Young. They didn't know who was going to play. Bryce Young eventually played, but you make defenses game plan for it. If they're going to do it, I think it's going to be later in the year. You're early in the season. You got 17 games and they've only played 5.
Yeah. And I'll say this about a special package from Malik Willis. The Titans need to figure out their offensive line before they put Malik Willis back there in any special packages. They have to be better up front. And so if you're going to put Malik Willis back there, it's not going to look any better because the offensive line.
Yeah, they got bigger problems. I mean, look, they've got bigger problems. Look at the left side of the left column. They've got to kind of figure out, as you said, Austin, they still don't have an offensive identity. Like, they want it to be Derrick Henry play action, open it up, deep ball. They don't have one.
The last couple games, it was Derrick Henry. He was the one that was near 100 yards by halftime and snuck over 100 yards because of an average second half.
Their identity disappears in the third and fourth quarter, though. So that's not a true identity. You have to you identify all 4 quarters of play.
It is their identity. It doesn't mean that they're good. It's just their identity. Like, the Bears have an identity. It doesn't mean it's good. It's just still their identity. So the identity of the Titans is Derrick Henry. We've seen that show up against the Colts in Washington, where the Titans have won behind Derrick Henry gaining 140 total yards. Hell, throw the Raiders in there. He didn't have 100 yards rushing against the Raiders, but he had 130 total yards. Derrick Henry is it.
Well, yeah, cool. They're looking for places because they can't throw the ball elsewhere. Yeah. You know, Derrick Henry get on the jugs and get those 7-yard turnarounds. That I do think can help them. Now he's got to catch him, and you saw them more versus Indy. That's the check down. It's a 7-yard turnaround where he goes 7 yards, he turns around, he can turn and fall forward, and he's lined up against the linebacker. So if in fact he does break that tackle, now you're talking about a 12 to 15-yard gain possibly, because he always falls forward. And that opens a lot of things up because it pushes everybody and squunches them into the middle of the field, and that helps the offense.
Yeah,
but we haven't seen that enough.
Yeah, checkdowns to Derrick Henry the last few games have been free yards for the Titans offense, so they need to take advantage of more. A to Z Sports, here's a good thing. Nate Davis was back at practice after missing the Washington game. They desperately need Nate Davis on the offensive line. We'll talk about 2 other Titans who returned to practice as full participants that are a big deal. We'll hear from both Bud Dupree and Amani Hooker in a second. But Zach, tell everybody about Farm Bureau health plans.
Yeah, FBHP.com is where to go to get your new health plan. I went there at the beginning of this year, and I'm really glad that I did. Better service, better coverage, better rates. I received all 3. Better service because I actually talked to somebody. Better coverage because it's a lot better than my previous coverage and my previous plan. And my previous plan cost me 20% more than what I'm paying now. So I got better rates. All 3, 200 plus locations across the state of Tennessee. So if you live in Tennessee, you are eligible. All you have to do is go through a series of questions as they take a health assessment. You answer them openly and honestly, like I did, and they can find your perfect plan for you and your family. They've got a wide array of plans, and it fits your lifestyle and your health plan. I'm really glad that I switched. That's why I endorse Farm Bureau health plans, and I will continue to, because they continue to give me great coverage. So plan on Farm Bureau health plans by visiting FBHP.com/ATOZ and get started today.
Also, download the BetMGM app and you use our code ATOZ Sports. You get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. Zach, I'm pumped because I was out of state last weekend, and I like taking vacation. But when you go out of state and you can't bet on BetMGM, you can't wait to get back to fire up the app. So I'm ready to go after taking a weekend off from BetMGM and my sports betting from being out of state. But download the app, use our code ATOZ Sports. You get a risk-free bet on pro football up to $1,000 after your first deposit. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older, Tennessee only, new customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualifications and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued with knowledgeable for bets and credit for bets expiring in 7 days. For problem game of support, call Tennessee Red Line 800-889-9789. Bud Dupree and Monty Hooker both back at practice as full participants. We're going to ask you guys a question here in a second. Who is more impactful for the Titans to get back versus the Colts on defense? Let's hear from Bud Dupree first.
Bye week was good, came at the right time. Personally, I mean, not for the team, but for me. Yeah. I'm able to go out there and get some time needed off, to get back to 100%. Continue to grind away.
You feel like the explosiveness, all that, is back just based on what you've seen so far?
Yeah, I feel like I'm be good. Most thing is, man, just going through some small knick-knack injuries throughout the season, man. You just got to have an opportunity to be able to just sit down and let everything catch up with itself. The training, the rehab, everything just catch up.
So small knick-knack injuries. It seems like Bud Dupree's been dealing with those in both of his 2 seasons with the Titans since signing that massive contract a couple off seasons ago. They've got to have him back, and they got to hope those knick-knack injuries go away and stay away.
Well, we're at a time, or about to be at a time, to really start to assess if Bud Dupree is worth the money. Thus far, he hasn't been because he's been injured. But coming back from an ACL, he said he came back too early last year and then came back and kind of settled into himself. And then this year, he's been riddled with this hip. He comes back against Indy, then he goes back out, and then he sits down, and now he's returning. And I know I always love to say Spo don't know because of Spo's predictions, but Spo does have the contracts, which are just black and white. It's just ink. The potential out is the 2023 offseason. And you take a look to say, is he worth the money? Now you have Harold Landry, though, coming off of an ACL. So that, I think, impacts in what you're going to do. But Bud Dupree, the rest of the way, he really has to prove that he can stay. And you see that red arm sleeve, the red bandana. That's how I recognize Bud Dupree. That's how he stands out on the field to me. Are we going to see red, or are we going to see him on the sidelines? And so far, we've seen a lot of him on the sidelines. I believe in his ability and his pass rushing ability, the way he gets after the quarterback, hurries, pressures. But damn, Austin, he's got to be consistent from here on out to end the season.
Yeah, and you ask if he's worth it. When he's on the field, he's really good and he's worth it. But he's just not been on the field consistent enough. He's kind of like what Mike Vrabel was saying about the NFL refs. You got to be more consistent. I appreciate all the effort that goes into this, but you got to be more consistent and you have to be available. So Bud Dupree's out in this offseason. It's too early to talk about that, but if they cut Bud Dupree this offseason, it would still cost them $10.8 million on the dead cap. So there's that. But now there's also Amani Hooker. Let's hear from Amani Hooker, who's missed. He went out against the Raiders at the end with a concussion, missed the Colts game, missed the Washington game, was still in concussion protocol up until yesterday. Here's Amani Hooker. That's a long time for a concussion. Here's Amani Hooker in the locker room.
It feels great. It was a long 3 weeks. I needed that bye week, so that bye week helped me out. But definitely feels good to be back out there with my guys.
When you have something like that, and have you had concussions before in your career?
I had one, when I was younger, back in like 8th and 9th grade. But definitely, I think it does play a factor about the adrenaline running. I think it's just different with each guy. Some guys, it happens, it might affect their judgment. But for me, in that instance, I was able to finish the game.
And
so it kept him out for 3 weeks in concussion protocol, which feels like a long time for a guy that hasn't had a concussion since he was like 13.
Look, I would say that probably the landscape of those 3 weeks in Tua Tagovailoa that we talked about yesterday may have impacted the length. I think they changed the perception of how they handle things.
No,
that's a long time.
No, what the Tua stuff did was change what happens in game. And the thing with Amani's concussion,
I think it impacts everything. I don't think it's just in game.
No, because the concussion.
Argue that.
I don't think so. And Will Dodson says a mysterious concussion from Amani. That's the weird thing about it, is that it happened at the very end of the Raiders game where the 2-point conversion is tipped and incomplete. And then the game's over, and then all of a sudden Wednesday, Amani Hooker has a concussion. And nobody recognized when it happened because it was like the last play of the game. And so I don't necessarily think the Tua thing impacted the length.
I'm with Roy.
No,
I think it changed everything.
I think what Tua's impacted was what they see the player immediately after the play, not the length of protocol. Still the same during the practice week.
I think that they are much more cognizant of a timetable after a concussion based on the perception of the league's handling of Tua Tagovailoa. That is my statement.
Maybe Amani Hooker's baseline test was high. I don't know.
I mean, you don't know. But, here, the fact of the matter is, we talked about the concussion. Amani Hooker was playing good football before he went out. He had a big pick in the end zone early in the season. And he is Kevin Byard's counterpart. You like him out on the field. And they've had problems in the back half of their defense. Passing in particular. So how can he help you just secure some of the back half of the defense? They've had big plays get by their secondary. Now, some of that has been due to the cornerback play, but I do think that he impacts in a positive way. I think both these guys, I think that's what we're talking about, is Bud Dupree and Amani Hooker help this defense. And those are the two big names that they're getting back after, this past week's bye week.
All right. Who is more important? Who is more impactful to have back versus the Colts? So who is more impactful to have back versus the Colts, Bud Dupree or Amani Hooker? I'm curious to hear the chat's answer on this. I think it's pretty clear to me. I think it's Amani Hooker. Now, Kyle says Dupree, but I think it's Amani Hooker, Zach, and I'll let the comments roll in here. But the Titans have a bigger drop-off from Amani Hooker to backup from Bud Dupree to his backup. And the thing is with Bud Dupree, Oladene's also out, but the Titans have got a lot more up in their arsenal on the defensive front, where Danico Autry can play outside if Bud Dupree's not available. They can play Rashad Weaver, Jeff Simmons, Tierre Tart, and all the other big guys inside. But I think Amani Hooker is so impactful in this secondary because you've got guys that signed to the roster and Josh Kalu playing 100% of the snaps next to Kevin Byard. And that's probably a big reason why they give up so many passing yards to Matt Ryan and Carson Wentz in back-to-back weeks.
All right, I'll take a different approach. I think what you said is very fair. And this is actually, I'll take a page out of your book in our pre-show conversation. You talked about the next two games.
Yeah.
The Indianapolis Colts and the Houston Texans. Matt Ryan and Davis Mills. Stand still statue QBs. And Matt Ryan, as we've seen before, doesn't do very well when pressurized. Now, the interior side of the Titans defense is really, really good at getting pressure. If Bud Dupree can be the player that he needs to be, that's making $17 million, that can really help the Titans win these next two games. And if the Titans win these next two games, you blink twice and you're 5-2. You've got a stranglehold on the AFC South, which is the worst division in football. And now you're in the driver's seat to go into the hard, tough stretch of your season. I will say Bud Dupree, if he can play at the level that we have seen him play before against these two particular quarterbacks, I think that is most impactful in winning Colts and winning Texans.
Yeah, but they only had Bud Dupree for, I think, 8 snaps against the Colts the first time, and they got all after Matt Ryan.
Up front, though. Imagine if you get interior pressure and exterior pressure. Matt Ryan, he'll be in a pinball machine.
But that's who is more impactful to get back versus the Colts. That's why I think it's Amani Hooker, because the Titans can get pressure without Bud Dupree. We've seen it. And I agree with D Brown Productions. Bud's numbers don't speak upon his impact. Yes, absolutely all of that from D Brown Productions. It is easy to see the difference in the total defensive effectiveness when Bud Dupree is out there getting after the quarterback. Even if it doesn't end up with him having a sack, he is making them better. No doubt about that. But when you're talking about the impact of not having Bud Dupree or not having Amani Hooker, there's a bigger drop-off behind Amani Hooker than there is behind Bud Dupree. And so you've seen Hooker out for 2 games. The Titans and Bud Dupree out from most of those 2 games. They've won both games. They've only given up 17 points in each of those games. So
Bud Dupree did recover a fumble against the Colts before he left in those 8 snaps.
He did. He absolutely did. You're right. And
impact. Right place, right time. Jump on the football.
Look, they gotta have. I think they have to have them both. I don't think they can afford for those guys.
We are in agreement there, right?
I just think that you're playing with fire if you don't have Byard and Hooker together, because who's that safety? There's no Dane Cruikshank. That's, he was your guy that you felt comfortable about. Ugo Amadi is still also hurt too. And we don't know if he's going to be, he was back at practice as well. So hopefully Ugo Amadi can help out. play someone in the slot there as well. Still waiting on Elijah Molden on injured reserve. But the guys that they have at safety, like Josh Kalu and some of the other guys they've tried out there, they're the Terrence Mitchells of the world. You have to have Amani Hooker because it allows Kevin Byard to be better too.
Who has more to prove? Different question. I'm just asking. Who has more to prove? Bud Dupree or Amani Hooker?
Bud Dupree.
That's a pressure, right? Impact. And I think, as we talked about, that's kind of why I started the Bud Dupree. It's really early. I'm not sitting here talking about, contract outs, but there is the realization of that. And he's going to have to prove on this team that he can stay healthy and help this Titans defense improve from where they are.
Yeah. Eric says, when will A to Z tell us who practices today? After practice. Sorry. And then Nate says, can A to Z find Molden for us? Update so we can feel better. Nate, Mike Vrabel has asked about Elijah Molden basically at every press conference he has. So the fact is Elijah Molden, and it doesn't seem like they're going to be activated to come back from injured reserve. And when a player is on injured reserve, they're not allowed to talk to the media. So Elijah Molden is silenced because he is on IR. But again, I watched the injury happen back in I think it was the third day of training camp. They're doing a tip drill, tip ball low. Molden went down for it, fell down with the turf monster, came up limping, and he's been limping ever since, it seems like.
Yeah, limping around the facility, not on the field.
No, not at all. So I think it's Amani Hooker. Amani Hooker is who I need to see back more impactful versus the Colts.
Wow, that Sunday, get your popcorn ready. We'll find out.
It looks like they're both going to be back. That's great. That's good. That's fantastic.
More impactful. That's why.
And here's what I'll say. Hopefully, you hear whoever's broadcasting the game call Bud Dupree's name more than Amani Hooker.
Yeah, and Andrew brings up, where's Hibachi? Hibachi disappeared.
Cold week.
Poof.
That's a good
Hibachi. Point. He's not cooking up anything this week. I haven't seen him in the chat, and so maybe he'll return either Friday or, I'll tell you when he's going to come back. If the Titans lose to the Colts on Sunday, he'll be somewhere lurking in the comment section in that post-game show. That's where Hibachi will be. But we'll see if the Titans take care of business. This is a big game. You talk about stranglehold, and we got one more day and a pregame show to talk about it. But they beat the Colts. Now that's big time.
Yeah, because then you have to be look.
Because the Jags have gone this way over the last several weeks.
Absolutely. A to Z Sports Live on this Thursday. It is time for the Magic Bucket. But first, let me tell everybody about our great sponsors, Hughes and Coleman. I just saw Hughes and Coleman's got a brand new Titans commercial that you're going to start seeing a lot on Titans games because they are the official injury lawyers of the Tennessee Titans. And if you've been injured in a car wreck, call Hughes and Coleman for a free case consultation. Their number is super easy. It's 800-800-4600. That's 800-800-4600. They recovered over $1 billion for all of their clients across the state of Tennessee and in Kentucky over the last 30 years. That's a lot of money, and they have the muscle and the resources to go fight the insurance companies for you so you can get what you deserve. So if you've been injured in a car wreck, call Hughes and Coleman at 800-800-4600, principal office in Nashville, Tennessee.
A to Z Sports, we are powered by BetMGM. Download that app today. Use the promo code ATOZ Sports. Get a risk-free bet up to $1,000 for new users. Use that promo code in that promo code tab, ATOZ SPORTS. They are the king of sportsbooks. That's BetMGM. Download the app today. Now, let's get to it. It's Magic Bucket time.
All right. Magic Bucket time. Zach's the captain of the bucket because I was out of town last week, and it's going to be interesting. Like, you're just probably going to keep the bucket until then you need to go out of town. Then I'll get the bucket, and then I'll have the bucket until I go out of town again and miss a Thursday.
So, whose sticker is it? I think it's your sticker week, I believe.
Well, did you pull a sticker last week?
No.
Right. So then it's your sticker week.
Why? I won't do stickers when one is gone.
Right. I had a sticker the week before.
What was your sticker?
The little dog Halloween costume sticker.
That is correct.
So it is your sticker week.
I gotta find my sticker.
Uh-oh. He's got his envelope of stickers.
Yeah, you gotta have backups.
No, yeah. What happened to Sam last week on the Magic Bucket?
What did happen to Sam? Oh, he had to do The Sopranos. It was funny.
That's my favorite. Unfortunately, does that mean it's done though?
Yes, it is done. We've all done
That
it.
sucks because that's a really good one.
All right, let's see here. Oh, I found one.
All right.
So,
Everybody else in the chat knew the Soprano voice a lot quicker than Zach did. Which is funny.
Yeah, I do a lot more shows.
Yeah.
I've lost track since then. Goat. I pick up stickers when I'm at places now, right? Because you got to
Yes.
be prepared. So this is the squawking goat right here, and it's from Maple Street Biscuit Company.
Oh.
I will say this: I will criticize Maple Street Biscuit Company. It's the food is okay, and it's here in Nashville. Look, if you're gonna run a business, I'm gonna be able to criticize you or compliment you. I don't like the last time I was there, they ask you a question, for your order. So like, what's your favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle? Whatever. If that's the question,
Yeah.
The person that yells or yells way too loud. It is disruptive to the breakfast. So you don't, the person's like, Raphael, and there's constantly orders going out. So you're like, shut the F up. I'm no longer, so I haven't been back since. So that would be my criticism, constructive, but squawking goat, stop squawking so damn loud. That would be my criticism.
That's just one person's problem, not the actual restaurants.
And if you know me, I did give a look to the manager, like, tone it down. And she never went over and said to the person to tone it down. So I haven't been back. All right. My sticker week, I'm picking for me, I guess.
Yeah, this is for you. Anthony calls you Mr. Karen.
Yeah. And Anthony, I don't care. I don't care. I never have. And I probably never will. All right. Oh, wow. This is daunting. During the next, it says non-live show.
Yeah, well, it meant keep reading it.
You must drink a full beer / seltzer before the first full ad read. If not finished or complete or accomplished, you must shotgun another beer to end the show. So I think this is excluding what? Pre-game, halftime, post-game show?
Yeah. And then anything on site. That was from our guy, Eldon, who submitted that. I recognize it. And so you meant non-live show, like we're not going to be shotgunning stuff at sponsors, which we don't do the on-site stuff anymore. So yeah, so that's tomorrow.
I think I got a cold beer in that fridge.
Good, because you might need two.
I won't need to.
Well, if you don't have, because what is it again?
It is you must drink a full beer / seltzer before the first full ad read. So that's start of the show to first full ad read.
Yeah, well, I'm in charge of the ad read timing, so you never know. You gotta drink quick because you never know when I might do that transition. So you might want to have two. Might want to have two beers on hand.
The show's gonna go the way the show's gonna go.
Hey, but I'm in charge of it.
I would just say this: do unto others as they would do unto you. I'll take that. I'll take the steering wheel right off next time.
All
right. Next up is for you. You've already done the pad kid poured curd pulled cod.
Yeah, screw that one. I don't like not having the bucket.
I think you have not. I don't know if you've done this. This is easy. which you get off. Howl like a wolf. Have you done this? Or I think I
have
done
not. I have not. And I did not do this when I named or did all my animals in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I have howled like a wolf. Now you howl like a wolf. This next one will be for Sam, so I'll put it back in there.
Ready?
That's not too bad. That sounds like a wolf.
It's that time of year too.
Ghouls and goblins.
It's that time of year. All right.
Ghouls and goblins.
So what beer you got in the fridge for tomorrow?
I think I've got a Gerst in there, Yazoo, which I enjoy. I like drinking that when I eat barbecue. Miller Lite. I'm a Miller Lite guy. I don't know. I don't drink a ton of beer during the week, but I'll get after it on a college football Saturday.
Oh, God, I just can't do like Miller Lite, Bud Light, any of that stuff.
Oh, Miller Lite's delicious.
Oh no, just
like
disgusting.
Delicious.
No.
There's nothing better than on a Saturday about 11 a.m. with first kickoff that you crack your first Miller Lite. And it could be after your Bloody Mary.
Zach, there are so many things
there is a taste that just is pure America.
No,
it
there are so many better things.
It represents a crisp American sip.
No, gross. Busch Light, Natty Ice, Miller Lite. I don't give a damn. Gross. It's disgusting.
The beer is not gross.
That beer, that type of beer is unnecessary at this point for me.
It's good for drinking heavily. I'm not condoning it, but it's good for drinking heavily.
You're saying it's a volume drinking beer.
Yeah, but that first crack of a ice cold Miller Lite. Damn, I may have to have one tonight just because I'm thinking about it.
Just to prep. All right, guys. Mark, yep. Maybe that's all we need. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow on a Friday. Zach will have his beer in hand. Don't forget, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and like the show before you go. Our guy Stephen King on YouTube started that for us. Like the show before you go on YouTube and on Facebook, because the more likes we get, the more the algorithm likes it, the more people watch it, the more fun we have with everybody watching. So subscribe to us on YouTube. Buck Rising live tonight, A to Z Sports Primetime. Sam Phelan will be at the Titans facility, so he'll have content from inside the locker room today. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good rest of your Thursday. Appreciate it as always.
Adios.